G'day budgies and wedgies and welcome back to the channel. So it was just last week that I achieved one of my very long-term dreams, and that was to get a massive school of 20 torpedo barbs. Continuing on the theme of getting some dream fish, this week I've got yet another unboxing of some new fish that I ended up getting during some Black Friday sales that were happening. Boxing Day is coming up as well, so I'm not looking forward to the spending which may potentially happen, but it's Christmas, you gotta treat yourself. And today I wanted to share an absolutely amazing group of fish that I ended up getting. Before we get into this video though, as always, let's acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and the people that are managing our land as well. But I say, enough talking, and let's have a look at what these fish are. Now, what I will admit is that this particular species of fish that I ended up purchasing, though it was a dream fish of mine, I wasn't actively looking to purchase them anytime soon whatsoever. The reason for that is, one, they're incredibly rare to come by here in Australia, so whenever you do see them, it's very few and far in between, and two, they're incredibly expensive. They're a pretty pricey fish, and that just seems to be a bit of a bodgy trend. Any dream fish of mine happens to be a couple of $100 or a solid grand lungfish. However, yeah, so I wasn't looking for these fish in particular, but with Black Friday sales happening, there was a bit of a fear of missing out, and I was itching to purchase something, so I was just browsing a bunch of online aquarium stores, where I went to a classic store that I frequently browse, and that is 7fishes.com. I will preface right here that this video is no way sponsored by 7fishes whatsoever, but I just really love the selection of bettas that they have. They're basically like the encyclopedia, I don't know how you would say that, they're like the Costco of bettas. They've got every betta that you can think of, and they're at a really incredible price. So I was just browsing through their website, and I was actually on the market for a giant female betta to pair up with my giant male. However, I then went to their wild betta selection just to see what's there, you know, not looking for anything in particular, just to see what kind of wild bettas are in Australia at the moment. And that's where I saw Betta Macrostoma, the holy grail, the top tier, the Rolls Royce of bettas, the Betta Macrostoma. And this was the dream fish that I wanted. And 7fishes had an amazing deal that was going on. It was like 10 bettas for the price of a single adult Macrostoma. And I thought that was just a deal that was too good to pass up. However, I couldn't afford all 10 bettas alone myself, so I reached out to fellow betta enthusiast Blake's Aquatics and asked if he'd be interested in doing a 50-50. So I get 5 and Blake gets 5. Blake was all good with it because I basically shoved the deal in his face and I was like, hey Blake, do you want to get these fish? And he was like, yeah, sure. So I ended up ordering the fish. They came here, I put them into an aquarium, and Blake just last week came and picked up his 5. I'm sure he'll be doing a video of them shortly, and he did film a store tour, so make sure you head over to his channel to check out his video. But with that being said, the bettas did arrive and I was like all hands on deck. I've unboxed a good couple of 100 fish at this point. However, it's always like, sometimes you get a box of fish and you're like, oh my god, I can't video, I can't do anything, the fish are the main priority. So I unboxed them in my living room then and there, just to make sure that they were all good. I didn't film any of the acclimation process or anything like that because my main priority was getting these fish into their aquarium, and they are doing absolutely amazingly. They're actually in that 70-litre aquarium that my torpedo barbs went into originally. Those fish since have been moved out, if you did see that video last week, and the Betta Macrostoma are absolutely thriving in there. But let me give you a bit of an insight as to why I wanted to get these fish. So I've said it many a times on the channel before that I am a huge fan of snakeheads. I just love their aesthetic, how they can breathe surface oxygen, how they slither across like little bodies of water, almost like a snake, and just how much of an ambush predator they are. But unfortunately here in Australia, actually fortunately in Australia and a lot of other countries, they are a banned species because of how quickly they can become an invasive species. They're incredibly aggressive, they reproduce really quickly, and they're a damn near bulletproof fish that can adapt to a wide range of conditions. So in the countries that they have been introduced as a, potential food species that's escaped, like the United States of America, they've quickly become a noxious species and absolutely decimated a lot of the native populations of fish. So that's a really great reason for them not to be in Australia, to protect the amazing biodiversity of native fish that we have. However, the closest thing to a legal option of keeping a snakehead, in my opinion, is a lot of the wild bettas. And that's why I've always wanted to get some sort of wild betta that gets to a pretty large size and resembles a lot of the aesthetics and has some of the behavioral traits of a snakehead. And I was looking at a lot of the Unimaculata complex of bettas because they resemble that aesthetic. But, you know me, when we gotta go for fish, we're gonna go for the primo, we're gonna go for the top tier, and that's where the Betta Macrostoma fell into my eyes, and I absolutely had to have some. But now they're in that 70-litre aquarium, all 5 are absolutely thriving, and I'll admit, I am tempted to get some more, but I'm gonna wait to see how these grow out, how many pairs I can get, because these are a fish that I definitely want to work with long-term, breed, see what I can do with them, give them a dedicated aquarium, and at the moment they are growing out absolutely amazingly. They have those really awesome behaviors where they flare at each other, they're just starting to show little hints of color, and they will transition from this stripy, almost bland coloration into this absolutely stunning fish when they're full grown. They're taking to any foods that I offer them whatsoever at this moment. So frozen foods, pellets, whatever I'm giving them, they are eating, which is great, and they've been an absolute breeze to care for. I don't want to really mention any care requirements or tips for the moment, just because I'm still very fresh as to keeping these fish, but they do prefer cooler water temperatures, so I'm keeping them at around about 24 degrees, and it's a pretty low pH as well with all the botanicals and leaves that I've got in the tank. But once I'm a lot more comfortable with them, once they've put on a little bit more size, I make sure to share a full care guide on them. But that's essentially it for this video. Super quick, but I just wanted to share these really amazing fish that I ended up getting. So if you want to see how they progress, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel, because a lot of you that watch aren't subscribed, so please, I'd really appreciate it. But you watching alone makes a huge difference to the performance of this channel and how I'm able to get more fish like this. So as always, stay happy, stay safe, stay Aussie Australian, Bodgy out.